So I'm just get right into it. I was just get right. So I was having this thought the other day that, and y'all might hate me for this, man, especially like the older generations and the millennials and up, but experts don't exist no more. The days of an expert is about to cease to exist.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why you say that?
All right, for one, Gary Vee said it.
Gary Vee said it?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like he's like a prophet. Nah, anyway.
He be knowing.
Nah, real talk.
He be knowing.
He said, like, I read this quote. He said a few years back, man, but now I'm starting to understand why. But he was saying that if you want to, well, he was pretty much saying don't become an expert in your field, become an enthusiast. And he was pretty much explaining that it's too much pressure to be an expert in your field. You have to know everything when you become this expert, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So the thing is, man, like, and that's kind of how I started, like, yeah, maybe I can be an expert in this, and but to be honest, man, I'm coming to an understanding that experts really don't exist. Because here's the thing, like, y'all might know I do like video podcasts, video marketing and stuff like that. So I listen to these marketing podcasts,
Right.
and they are all saying a bunch of different things, and they have this expert bravado. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, feel to them. You know what I mean? Like,
Act like they know. What they say? Even if you don't know, act like you know.
Yeah. And they're just really adamant and then just confidence about what they're saying, but they all saying different things. And I'm like, I came to a conclusion that experts really don't exist. They're still trying to figure it out too.
There's some truth to that. I think there's a little truth to that. Because you got, and I think more so because you got so many different viewpoints on how to tackle a problem.
Right.
Like somebody may have an aggressive approach, somebody may have a more relaxed or reserved approach.
Right.
And
right.
they both can get the same thing accomplished. One just may get it accomplished faster. One may just get it accomplished better for people. One may get it accomplished. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the...
Yeah. I think, and that's the thing, man. Like, the angle with this conversation is that, if you're in your field or in your industry, especially leaders, I guess I'm learning from experience too, because there have been numerous of times that I would hear somebody talk and, they may be considered or known an expert in the industry. Now, I tried that way. It don't work for me. I tried this way. It don't work for me.
Right.
And then I have to come back to the drawing board, and just really figure out what really works best for me. And it got, maybe it's part of my trust issues, man. I'm going to put that out there too. I got trust issues. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I really think that the more I learn in my field of expertise, the more I'm learning. Number one, I'm learning myself.
Yeah.
And number two, I'm learning what works best for me. You see what I'm saying? So like these other experts that I listen to, I can pull from them, but I'm not just going to take their word for it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, you got to tweak it.
Yeah.
You got to tweak it. I think too, like I'll give you an example, right? Like, story time. Right?
Story time.
So when I went to Canada one time.
Okay.
And when
was this?
Was it 2012?
Oh, dang. Okay, that was long.
It was a while ago.
Okay,
it was a while ago. And long story short, my mentor, he's from Canada, whatever. He flew me out. I got flued out. Got flued out. And he always says like all the money's in the front, whatever, right? But what I did was I was like, well, they also say like to serve or whatever, right? So looking at it from an expert perspective, so I was trying to, serve.
Right.
And, I was in the back of the room just trying to help out, facilitating whatever. In that moment, I should have been selfish. Right. And I should have been in the front because he called me out while he's on stage. He was like, yeah, I got Henry here. I got Henry. Where's Henry? Where's Henry? And I'm in the back. So I'm putting my hand up. And yeah, sir, he's like, oh, you gotta be up here, man. Like all the money's in the front. All the money's in the front. I'm like, dang.
Oh.
It's like, dang. So like, you also, I think there's a part where I think we kind of talk about it sometime where like you also got people that, or you also got ways that like you just got to know a little bit more than the next person. Yeah. And that's really the focus, that you need to just know a little bit more than the next person. Right. Versus trying to know everything. Right. And that's where I just had to really kind of lay on or put aside what I thought was great, and like, dang, you know what? I should have just listened to him being at the front, because he told me to be at the front.
I don't know, man. I think that worked out for you.
No.
I'm gonna tell you why. I got a scripture for that. Hold on. Man, but anyway, we can keep talking while I find it, because while you was talking, I was trying to look for it. But
was it the first should be last and last should be first type though?
Yeah. I think it was more so humble thyself under the mighty hands of God. Oh no, it was Jesus said, "Don't be the one that
sit in the seat."
Go for the best seat. But go, because there may be somebody greater than you. Mm-hmm. And oh man, that goes right into the expert. Like, you call yourself an expert, but you know, there may be somebody that's better than you. Yeah. So me personally, I prefer to go with, you know, the route of Gary Vee, being an enthusiast, mm-hmm. you know, about my field of, you know, the field that I'm in. Mm-hmm. Like, when you're an enthusiast, you are looked up to as trustworthy. Okay. Because you're doing your research, because they see you have a passion for this field. You're doing your research, mm-hmm. you're inquiring information, and you're honest about it too. Like, hey, I'm not for sure about this, but this is an option here that you may can try out. So you're really catering to the people versus catering to your qualified expertise type.
And I think being an enthusiast, it takes the ego out of it too.
Yeah.
So like, if you think that you're the expert, right, you're sitting here and you're like, I know what's best, right. So when you're around people that's in your field or and you think that they know, or you know more than them, you don't always have that learner's mentality, right, to be able to pick up from the different things that they're doing too.
Exactly.
Dang,
I think
it's a bar.
Yep. Yeah. I ain't got bars. But I think that's pretty much, man. I want to say the older generation, man. Like, the expert industry, there's a whole industry called the expert industry.
Really?
Yeah, man. The Tony Robbins, you know what I mean? But millennials, you know, I think we see a shift, and Gary Vee is like I say, that's why I call him a prophet, man, because that dude can see far. Mm-hmm. There's a shift in how we acquire information these days, and it's no longer it's about influence, you know, because we have influencers and stuff like that. But if you look at even the influencers' approach, they're more so the people who do the research. Hey, I did this research. This is what I found. You know what I mean? They're not the ones, hey, no, this is what it is. Right. This is what it's going to be. Now, it's the people that you can trust to do their research. You can trust them because they got a passion about what they're doing. And you can see they got a passion for people too. So, you know, they kind of bridge the gap between what they're passionate and passionate for people. And they can just kind of share their information versus just being because I feel like once you say you're an expert, I feel like you're more passionate about your title and maintaining that position than helping me. So I ain't gonna trust you anyway. I already got trust issues, so I'm not gonna trust you anyway.
I guess even when they wrong, like even when the expert is wrong, they're gonna fight to say that they're right. Like,
that's a lot of energy though.
It's a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy, man. But yeah, so the route, man, the angle I want to go with it is that I think if we as leaders, man, just focus on who we are as individuals, I think there was a saying say like, know thyself. You know what I mean? I think the best learning first is to learn who you are. Yeah. How you receive information, how you work. You know, you may can find an influencer that is I guess similar to you in a certain way, and you just pull from them and you just try to figure it out that way. Yeah.
It's a lot of, look, I just got to get that, you know what I'm saying? Like, just get that, like, that's a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to get that pressure off for you to like even feel like you got to be the expert and feel like you got to be you got to be the guy. Yeah. Like, it's just, I don't want that type of.
It's a lot of energy, man.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Nah, I don't either. And I think, you know what? I think for my personality trait type, I feel like the the market is catching up to like my type of personality type, because I never did want to be the expert. Mm-hmm. Even when I was looked at as an expert, because, you know, I would know certain things. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that pressure, so I would shy away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's almost like raising kids, right? Like we both got sons, right? So it's like, it's almost like raising them and them looking at you as the end all be all or whatever, but you gotta be humble to them. Like, hey, like, daddy make mistakes too. You know, like, I don't know everything. Like, they ask you a question, you ain't gotta, don't feel like you gotta answer it with the absolute, like, you know what, I don't know why the sky is blue.
Right.
You know, like I don't,
you know what I say? Go ask your mama.
Right, ask your mama.
She the expert. Yeah, man. Yeah, like you say, I think it takes a lot of pressure, even like raising your kid. But I think it's our generation though, because the thing is, now anybody can become an expert. All you need is a phone, and a few people who's gonna listen, and some confidence. You know what I mean?
Confidence, for sure.
And you an expert. You feel me? Yeah. So I think that now, because of the widespread of internet, social media, you know, we have access to more information. I feel like the expert days are really just dying out, and people. Now the experts are being challenged by just normal people who can have access to information. Yeah. So yeah.
I don't know about dying out. I think there's still a path for it. Right?
Okay.
Because when I'm around the richest person, like, you know, like if I'm around my GM or my, you know, VP of rental or RVP or whatever it is, like, I'm gravitating towards the richest person in the room.
Okay.
And I will sit there and like soak up all the game and all the knowledge that I can from that person and figure out how I can apply it to my situation.
Right.
Right. So like, I do think there is a value in still viewing others as the expert, not necessarily yourself. But I don't know, I do think there's a little bit of value to that, to where you can still, you know, be able to, you know, get yourself to the next level by understanding that this person has more experience than me, and they've seen a little bit more than I have.
Right.
So how can I look at the world through their eyes to be able to like move forward, you know?
That's a perspective. So you said something key. You said you view them as an expert. Do you think they necessarily view themselves as an expert?
I would think so.
You think so?
Not necessarily an expert. I think they're humble enough to understand that, like, hey, I'm just telling you what I've been through. But at the same time, it's like, you ain't got to do what I'm doing. But if you did what I'm telling you to do, or what I did, you'll be better off.
Okay.
So it's not like a forceful thing. Like, you got to do it this way. But it is a sense of like, I know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, they got that confidence that they know. I mean, I think there's a difference. So like, I'm going back to like Robert Kiyosaki. He say this. He said he always say the A and B student always work for the C and D student.
It's real.
You know what I mean? And I think that because, you know, the A and B student, they're experts. You know, this is what I do. This is who I am. But I feel like, because I ain't no, you know, millionaire yet, but I feel like maybe we can have a millionaire on the show to, you know, come give us some game. But I feel like the C&D student, the millionaires, are always willing to learn versus thinking or knowing that I know it all. They're willing to learn. So, and I think that's always been my thing. Like, I don't know it all, but I know what I know. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that point about the C&D, because, you know, it made me think about, was it Henry Ford? I think it was Think and Grow Rich. And Henry Ford was on trial, and they were saying that basically you have this education of like a elementary school education,
right?
But yet you have, you know, this whatever big company or whatever. He's like, do you know? And they asked him like a smart question. Do you know what this is or whatever it is? And he said, no. I don't know it, but I got a phone. Basically, I got a phone that I can call somebody that knows everything about it, right?
Yep.
So like, I don't need to know it. So like, it doesn't, you know. So it's one of those things too, where it's like, with this new style or new the new wave or wherever we're going, you don't have to know every single thing. Like even when you're interviewing, like, you know, like interviewing is like,
put us on game with interviewing, man.
Well, not, it's just, you need, no, get me wrong, you need to know your numbers, but I'm just saying it's not as important to know like what certain things are, because you got access to this, you know, at your disposal at any point. Right. So it's like you can always pull it. Right. But again, you know the premise of it, but you don't need to know the absolute number of it. That makes sense.
Makes sense. Okay, so I got a question. So in the terms of expert and enthusiast, right? If you're interviewing an expert on an enthusiast, who are you hiring and why?
Definitely enthusiast. Okay. I'm big on coachability. Like if you feel like you know it all, you ain't gonna listen to what I'm telling you to do. Right. Like, so it's just like, what's the point? What's the point? So like, you know, we hire entry level people, right? A lot of entry level positions. But some people come in and they think that they should be in my role, you know, first day because of all the experience they have outside of this, right? And the reality of it is like that a lot of that experience doesn't translate over because you know, there's a different way to doing things. And some people, it kind of goes back to like we were talking about earlier though, was just, okay, this person views something this way and this person views it this way. They got the same goal in mind, but how they get there is very different. And somebody might get to like, dang, what was it? I don't know if it was a book or it had to be a book, but I basically like laying people off. Dang, what book was that? You read a book
about laying people off, bro?
Yeah, like I can't remember what it was. It was a book. Maybe it was like something about nations or something like that. But anyway, like some company started like, okay, what's the easiest way I can hit this number, and they started laying people off, and then that's how they met their matrix. They met their metrics, right? Okay. For stockholders or whatever, right? And somebody might have that mentality, that thought process, they come from that type of culture, but that ain't how we do it here. So like, we don't just throw people away like that, right? Yeah, so it's like, true. So your methods ain't gonna work, you know, in this system.
You got to be coachable.
Yeah, so that's why you need the enthusiast to be able to come in. Okay, you know, I understand that this is how I did it before, but let me learn how y'all do it, and let me because the expert just think they gonna know it all. And
okay, so with that being said, like, as an enthusiast, they are coming with some ideas too, right?
Yeah.
So like, will you be open to their ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't grow, bro. You can't grow if you don't like listen to the people that are smarter than you. Like, I'm not the smart. Like, see it. Like I got one D student, but like I didn't become. You know what's so crazy?
What's that?
It was so crazy. My first like elementary school, like up until I got until like 5th grade. Yeah. A and B's. A and B's. Right.
Yeah.
From 5th grade to like my junior year in college, C student.
Yeah, that was me.
Like C student. And it wasn't until like I figured out the game of school, and you just, really, if you really read this book and you really study and you really, then you can really get an A and B, right? Like, I didn't really feel like I figured out the game of school until like my junior year in college. Right. In college. So it's like, so my point being is that like you have these people that you're gonna be able to call on that put all their effort, all their time for the last 15, 20 years in school. They're gonna be all right. I mean, they know a lot. Yeah, that's true. You know, they know a lot. So pull from that.
That's true. Man, I just never so I was a C and D student too, bro. Well, C and D. Bro, I barely got by, my guy. Man, but
we didn't have D's though.
Y'all didn't?
Nah.
A 70? Oh, y'all didn't have a 70.
So 70 was a C.
70 was a C?
Yeah.
That was a D for us.
Oh.
Dang. Did that change? I think it changed when I was in school. But anyway, man, I was bare minimum, bro. Like, I was on the cuffs of not graduating. I had to talk my way into graduating, but you know what I mean? Just being charming. I think that's how I got by, man. But when I got to, not telling y'all to do that. Look, if any college students,
so
man.
Silly, man.
But when I got to college, not real college, DeVry. I don't know if that's considered.
Yeah, it's real college.
That's real. Yeah. I don't know, bro. But anyway, I figured out how I learn. You know what I mean? So I began to learn the way I learned, because the way they was trying to tell me to learn, I couldn't I couldn't learn that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happened with me, man. But I think too, even with that, I was just saying this on Bible study last week, man, that I carry some insecurities with that because the way they learn, I wasn't really able to learn that way. Mm-hmm. So I thought school wasn't for me. So I didn't even finish my college year. Mm-hmm. Even though I became like dean's list in college and all that,
mm-hmm.
I just, the pressure, you know what I mean, of trying to learn the way somebody else learns, you know? And I think it brings me right back to this topic as to why we should be doing, I can't say doing things the way we want to do,
mm-hmm.
but doing things the way that is best for us,
mm-hmm.
you know? And that first starts with like self-education, knowing yourself, knowing how you learn, knowing, you know, how you can process information and stuff like that, man. And yeah, stop listening to these experts. Not stop, but you know what I mean? Just kind of like,
yeah, I understand.
You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going?
Understand the game.
Yeah.
Just understand the game.
Yeah, you pull, if you're going to listen to them, you know, it may not be you do ABC, just like what they're saying, but you just pull from them. Like, for me, I just try to get the thought process around what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And, okay, this is one perspective. This is another. Like, I listened to one podcast, and they was talking about how AI is everything.
Yeah.
And then I go to this old school marketing podcast. Mm-hmm. AI is just another bubble, like the what's that .com back in the day.
The .com bubble. Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, yeah, it was a bubble, but internet is popping today. You feel me? So I'm like, here we go, man. But I got frustrated at that. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do what's best for me, you know, and what I'm doing, and for the things that my clients need, do what's best for them too. So that's how I came with all this, man.
Yep. Last thing I got is lyric of the week.
Lyric of the week.
We got. All right. So lyric of the week.
Okay.
Comes from Drake.
Man, you gonna keep this guy career alive, bro.
Hey man, he got bars. What you want?
Yeah, he do.
Life is amazing. It is what it should be.
Oh, okay.
Been here for 10, but I feel like a rookie. And I think that's the mentality that you have to have. No matter your experience, you should always think about things as if you were brand new. How would you go about it? Always have a fresh perspective on how you tackle every single thing. And again, life is amazing. It is what it should be. Like, we have all these things, right? Like, I've been here for 10, but I feel like a rookie. Like, I'm 10 years in my career at this point, right? So it's like, but at the same time, it's like, okay, how can I, like, the people, like you said, these new millennials, these younger kids, whatever, they have different challenges than we had. Yeah, that's true. You know? And so, okay, how can I relate with them, connect with them to be able to continue to be that enthusiast? And not that pressure, that expert.
Because we always learning, man. I think that's how. I think that was the demise of Blockbuster.
Facts. Yeah.
I watched the documentary, and they said how Blockbuster was just it was just too prideful, man, to change up. You know, Netflix started coming, and they was like, nah, we ain't switching it up because we number one. You know, and next thing you know, I hear there's only one Blockbuster now somewhere. It's
I'm surprised it is.
It's a museum or something.
Hey, this is what we have to do.
Yeah, man.
Did y'all have Video Warehouse?
Huh?
Did y'all have Video Warehouse? No.
What you mean?
That was like that was our Blockbuster. We had Blockbuster. No, we had Hollywood.
We had Hollywood too.
Yeah, we had Hollywood.
We had. I think we after a while we started going to Hollywood versus Blockbuster. Blockbuster they stopped having good movies too, man. Like, so we went to Hollywood, but man. That's all I got, man. Oh, here's the scripture. Scripture of the week. That made me think about. And it's Luke 14, and we're gonna start at
Scripture of the week.
Scripture and God. We're gonna start at verse 8. It says, "When you are invited by anyone to a wedding, feast," which you was invited to a conference. It was a conference in Canada.
Yep, conference in Canada.
"Do not sit down in the best place, lest one more honorable than you will be invited by him." And then it says, he who invited you, this is verse 9, "he who invited you and him come and say to you, give place to this man, and then you begin with shame to take the Lord's place. But then it says, but when you are invited, go and sit down in the lowest place. So you back there serving. You know what I mean? And he called you out. And then, hey, this is what happens, so that when he who invited you comes, he might say to you, friend, go up higher. Then you will have the glory in the presence of those who sit at the table with you. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. That happened to you, bro. I mean, you probably didn't take it.
So why don't look at Martha like that?
What happened? Well,
Martha, when she was, Mary was cleaning feet or whatever she was doing. Martha was busy. She was kind of, serving, but she don't get that viewpoint of like obviously he told her to come sit down, pretty much, like chill out. But people don't look at Martha in that way.
What? In what way?
In the way of like that she was doing what she was supposed to do.
She was doing it out of anxiousness, because it said you worried about the details.
See, okay,
yeah,
all right, yeah, boom. Okay. So it's also signs of getting rich, right? How you do anything,
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, she was worried, but I mean, you got divine revelation right here at your footsteps. Like,
yeah.
I don't care what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
man. But that's all I got, bro.
That's all I got, man.
Cool, man. Y'all be sure to like. Wait, hold on. Get the journal, man. Golly, y'all go get that journal. What am I doing right? What am I doing? WRITE journal. What am I doing right journal? It is a game changer. It's a wholeness journal. I don't know nobody that's doing a wholeness journal, bro. Like mental, physical, spiritual is going to keep you or hold you accountable to all of those things, and how you are, applying your everyday, or what you're learning, what you're writing, how you're applying it in your life, man. Just go ahead and get that journal on Amazon right now. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Hit the bell. Hit the bell, man. Let's get this information out of here. We out, bro.
All right. Keep their head up, cause you concerned about them. Stick and move, we can get it done. Call it unity, it ain't no way around it. Cultivating, we get motivation from the big guy. We don't play about them. Going hard for the game, short.